Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall, where we throw ideas, see what sticks, and nurture those that do. I'm your host, Armando Leduc, an actor, entrepreneur, and coach, giving you insights that light up your world. We're here to explore the realms of business, marketing, and life, serving up a shot of inspiration with every episode. Ready to make ideas stick and grow them into something great? Let's dive in. What's up, everybody? Cheryl Sanguinetti from Canada is in the house. Or in her house. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Fantastic. So we had the privilege of getting to know each other in Austin at the Speak Easy Global event. And I was like, you got to come to the show. We got to talk about what it is that you do and how you help. And so she's a serial entrepreneur, mortgage broker, and founder of Critical Function. So it's a company dedicated to transforming executive assistants into strategic partners who drive business growth. And so we're getting into talking about, yes, you got the assistant. Number one, get an assistant, right? But number two, what are they doing? And how many times do CEOs and visionaries hire people and then they just sit there and then they get upset because their person is not doing anything? Yeah. And then they blame that person. I'm like, no, it's just because you're not clear, right? There's no clarity. There's no KPIs. There's nothing really. You're just like, oh, I need help. And there's really no solution for that, which is where you come in, which is an awesome place to be. So Cheryl, give me a 2-minute intro on how you got where you got.
Yeah, I think I got here by experiencing the pain of not having the help. Critical Function was born from a time where I had an amazing rock star assistant. My business was super busy, and in the mortgage world, training is really heavy. So there's a lot of training that goes into getting someone to where they need to be. And she left. She was leaving the country for a different opportunity. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do now? And in the past, what would happen is I would just wait until I burnt out, and then I would quickly hire someone without a clear plan, as you mentioned, like no KPIs, no plan, expect that they knew exactly what I needed. And then when they didn't, I was like, well, you're not working out, time to go. And so it just came from a place of fixing my own need first and realizing that the need existed everywhere else.
Valid. And so how did you put two and two together? What was that moment that you were all like, there's a pain point. I'm going to solve it. This is my business now.
Yeah. So again, I looked at myself and I'm like, what can I create that's going to be repeatable? Because inevitably I'm going to have staffing changeover again. So it really was just created for myself to begin with. And I started putting together, record. At that time, AI wasn't doing what it is now. So it was a lot of like manual labor of creating my SOPs and creating my training. And then I was like, every other broker I know is in the same position. And this could actually be an opportunity to help, not just like as a business, but to help my fellow brokers get out of that grind and hustle in the same cycle I was in. And now, because I have such a great back-end team, I'm able to run both businesses simultaneously, which I wouldn't have been able to do had I not created the program in the first place.
So I often take my podcast and make it a personal thing for me. So I'm going to selfishly ask you questions about things that I have problems with and hopefully solve these issues for me. And if people are taking action and implementing as a result, good for you. By the way, have you seen this?
No.
Look at this.
That's wicked. Can I do it?
Cool. I think you might. Do you have an Apple? Do you have a Mac?
No, I don't.
Oh, you gotta have a Mac. Watch.
Because Macs suck, but apparently not right now.
Yeah. So anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
My problem is, and this is, obviously visionary, 120 miles an hour, fast moving.
Yeah.
When I bring somebody in, right, and you're going through your SOPs, how are you creating the SOPs in a way that makes sense? And how do you get your team to understand, like, what how do they create the SOPs too, right? For themselves. Because like I could create the SOP, but I'm not really doing that job, right? The project manager is doing that job. The creative director is doing that job. The editor is doing that job. So how are you going in and going, all right, guys, we're going to create the standard operating procedure for the editors here, and this is how you do it. What's the methodology?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I will say that like now my team creates the SOPs because truthfully, they know better what to do. If I had to step back into the role, I wouldn't even be doing it as well as them, which is ultimately the goal. But I think if I was starting brand new with someone who didn't have something set up, the first thing we're going to do is talk about like who you are as a human and what your preferences are. Because like SOPs are one thing, and it's really great to know how to do the job. But when you have an assistant just sort of doing the job but not knowing you, it actually, you're kind of set up to fail because you're going to have expectations that they don't know about, and you don't even realize you're doing it. So I would say like SOPs aside, because that's instructions and we can get there, I would start by figuring out who is Armando, how does he operate, how does he like things done, where does he bottleneck? Like we do all of that first. Then when we identify the big pain points there, then we can dive into, okay, how does he actually like things done? And then the role of the assistant isn't just to like repeat what you do, but it's like repeat what you do, but look for opportunities to make it better because that becomes their kind of area of expertise. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't have thought to start there, but it makes sense to start there, right? Like, how do you want it done? And I feel like, because there's a lot, and I have a lot of ideas that we're not as predictable, but we are predictable, right? Like people are predictable. They like things a certain way, and so is there a line of questions that you've created to get to that point? Are there assessments?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. There's a full intake form that goes through like leadership style, preferences, and then we do that for each specific type task. So in the mortgage world, as an example, and actually this would apply to anyone, like inbox and calendar preferences. There's a full questionnaire that's not just meant to like ask questions, but for you as the founder to actually think about, oh, this is how I do things. This is how I like things set up. Because a lot of times we're not asked it, we just do it, right? And then if there's anything specific to your business, then we get into that kind of preferences as well. So as an example, because we all have some sort of customer journey, one of the training pieces when we're trying to align the assistant with the mortgage broker is like, what order of priorities do you like things to be done? So what comes first on this list of 10 things? Because again, it's a preference. It's not, everyone isn't going to operate the same way. So I am a huge believer in checklists. Someone a long time ago told me to read the Checklist Manifesto. It was all about how they started reducing medical errors by having checklists in hospitals. That's kind of the premise of the book.
The Checklist Manifesto.
Checklist Manifesto. So it's really interesting when you think about like an intake or a checklist, just something that helps you not miss any of the pieces. So yeah.
I like that. Who wrote that? Do you know?
Good question. I read it so long ago. I'm going to look it up for you right now.
The checklist.
Manifesto. Atul Gawande. So Atul Gawand.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Checklists are key.
Yeah.
When you're, how much time is being wasted, do you think, give or take, ballpark? I read a meme the other day. It was like, before ballparks, how could we really give people a sense of time? Like, or an but ballpark here, how much time do you think, CEOs are wasting? Number one, not having an executive assistant.
I actually think that that's immeasurable because it's not just about the time you're taking to do the tasks. It's the time you're not spending creatively or improving your business or like in your zone of genius, which is how you generate revenue. Like we're all in business for revenue, right? For the most part. I mean, there's pieces of it we love too, but you know, we're doing stuff because we're trying to make money. So yeah, I actually don't think you can put a figure on that because we don't know. It's almost like lost opportunity. When we're in the weeds of all the things, what opportunities are we losing, and how full is our brain that we actually can't be in the creative or like growth mode or improvement mode? And that's actually why, like, when we are training our assistants, the first thing we start on is the inbox and the calendar. It's the first thing that you have to get rid of as a founder. Like, get out of the weeds. Don't be thinking about anything to do with your email, and also managing your time. So one thing we were just talking about, you know, this idea of like how we like things done, a really important piece of that equation is the assistants know where you're trying to go. Like, what is your vision? What are your goals? So that when you come with all these different ideas, which as visionaries we do, we've got lots of great ideas. Like, my God, if we could execute on all the ideas, we'd, you know, be billionaires. But if you think of your assistant as a strategic partner and they understand what your vision is, then they can also help to guide you and prioritize your time based on, you know, what you've told them. It can almost be like that accountability partner.
I love that. I love that. Do you recommend somebody getting an executive assistant that's in person?
Yeah.
Or does it matter if they're a VA?
I think it totally depends on your needs, like, and what you're going to be handing off. For the most part, I would say that you could start with a VA. I do a lot of in-person stuff with clients and events, and so it's really great to have that support there. But I wouldn't sort of pigeonhole that. I think it totally depends on your needs. It's really important to still have that like relationship and check in, and you know, you're like, there's things that we call like our daily huddle. Like, as long as there's connection there, I don't think it needs to be in person, but business dependent.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's giving me a lot to think about. How much should you be paying an assistant these days?
Yeah, so this is going to come down to, again, the market you're in, how much experience they need to have. You know, for instance, I have someone who's licensed on my team, so they're going to be paid more than someone who's unlicensed in my particular industry. And I think it also depends on that in person, or if you're going to be like sourcing from other countries. There's a lot that plays into that. But what I would tell you is that when you're thinking about how much you are paying someone, think about the time that they're freeing up for you and how much your time is worth. Because if your time is worth $250 or $500 an hour, and you want to get someone who is actually going to be that strategic partner, because there's admins and like paper pushers, but then there's people who are actually going to step in and operationally be like, I care about what's happening. I'm a strategic partner, and you have to compensate those people differently. So it just really depends. But I think doing research on that and sort of understanding, finding other people that have great assistants, it's all going to depend on that and their experience too. There's just sort of no blanket answer for that one.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Well, tell me a story of somebody that you came in, and could be a personal story too, that you were like, okay, they didn't have an assistant, or maybe they had an assistant, you guys came in, trained them properly, and what was that story like? And that transition?
Yeah, you know, and not that I just want to talk about myself, but I really am my best client because I am like a busy mom of three. I've got three boys, 8, 10, and 12, one of whom is like a professional athlete. So we're traveling at least 3 months out of the year. I've got these 2 businesses. My husband runs a business. My kids are little entrepreneurs. Like, I've got a ton of stuff going on. And it's really important for me that I'm always showing up for my family. So like, you know, the school puts out a call for a volunteer, I'm there. I don't miss anything. And so having that, you know, I hate the word balance because I don't think as entrepreneurs we really have like balance, But if I didn't have this back end support, I couldn't do all these things that I do. So I'm really a perfect example of this. And I operate best in creativity as well. As soon as I have to get in the weeds, especially now because I'm used to my team, like there was a time a couple weeks ago where both of them went away and I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But I literally will tell you that there was a time where I was doing, this reference isn't going to make sense to most viewers, but a certain amount of volume, and I was working twice as hard, and now I'm doing 4 times that amount and working half the time. So, and I have the space for new opportunities. So I think I'm the perfect example of being able to create opportunity, create new business, be able to be creative, show up for your family, show up for yourself while having the help.
I got a question.
It doesn't even become a cost at that point.
Yeah, it makes sense. I got a question for you. When you're thinking about, because the EA is a Swiss Army knife, really, right? Like they're doing everything. How are you setting the expectations from the beginning that like, hey, this is your job. Like your job is everything. Like I can't really create a job description for you because maybe today you're going and getting my car washed. And then the next day you're checking my emails. And then the next day you might be traveling with me to, to Cabo to take notes, or maybe you're doing this, or maybe you're doing that, right? Like how are you setting that expectation from the beginning?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important in the hiring process to outline exactly what it is you're looking for. So again, if I'm starting with a founder from scratch, we're kind of outlining everything that they do, everywhere they need to go, and then identifying what needs to be delegated elsewhere. So like, what's your non-critical function work? Then when you hire, and I mean, if you're hiring someone with experience, they're going to know they're the Swiss Army knife. But if you aren't, I think it's just relaying that to begin with. Like this is part of the onboarding. Actually, it starts in the interview process. They need to be comfortable with the fact that they're going to step in where they're needed. The whole idea is that the assistant is meant to anticipate your needs before you. So when they're anticipating their needs, it's going to be across the board. It may get to the place where, depending on how busy you are, you're going to have them do very specific things. Like right now in my business, I'm moving a staff member over to what I call a client concierge position. So they're going to be focused solely on client experience. So you may get to the place where you're actually diversifying that a bit, where you're putting one person in one role, another person in another. But it's all about setting the expectations from the beginning and letting them know your job is actually to take care of the founder and insert whatever needs to happen below that. It's not, you only do A, B, C, D.
And so do you guys have, what's the assessment tool that you guys are sending out?
Like pre-interview?
Uh-huh.
So I actually prefer to do the idea of like people sending you a video. So you give them instructions and you see how well they follow instructions. That's the first point of like filtering people out. And then from there we do, it's actually one that Andrew, who also from Speakeasy, the Working Genius assessment. So we really love to see where they fall in the Working Genius. Oh, see, you have a cute little bubble that popped up. And because it's about matching the right person to the right founder. Again, we don't deal with the hiring part, but we give founders tools so that they can follow a guideline on how to find the best person for them.
Yeah. And look, just an aside, if you guys aren't using some sort of assessment tool in hiring, you're doing yourselves a disservice, because understanding, especially with the Working Genius, if you need somebody that's high on enablement, these are people that are, they don't want to, don't tell them to think, just tell them what to do. They're going to be Johnny on the spot. These are the people that are going to be good executive assistants, right? If you have somebody that's high on wonder and invention and have ideas and have questions, like these people are not going to be good assistants. They're just going to come.
They're going to be good founders.
Yeah, they're going to be great. Yeah, they should start their own businesses, right? They should not be in charge of, helping you get things done because they're not doers. So that's just a quick aside, for the people out there that aren't using assessments. And out of the assessments out there, like with DISC and Colby, I enjoy Working Genius because it simplifies the process. So read that book for sure. So how long is the intake process, and how long is the intake process, and how long does it take to get somebody on board?
It's a good one.
I'm frozen. Or are you frozen? Are you frozen? Oh. Can you hear me? I think you're frozen. Hello? Cheryl! Oh, it died. All right, but I will continue until she comes back. So as far as Working Genius is concerned, and we can break down what it means. So the W of the Working Genius, it spells out widget. That's the acronym: wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. And basically what you're going to do is, the people that are high on wonder, these are people that are like, they ask a lot of questions. They, super inquisitive about things. These are people that you want in your annual meeting, your quarterly meetings. And so these people are really good at asking the right questions. Then you have invention. Welcome back.
Hey.
All good. So I was just kind of going through the Working Genius and what it meant. Wonder is the questions, and then invention are people that have 30 ideas a minute. That's this guy, right? Ideas for days. Then you have discernment people that are high on discernment can tell you whether or not an idea is good. A lot of times these people can feel like they're party poopers, especially to an invention person, because they're all like, well, you didn't think of that. You didn't think of this. You didn't think of, like, why are you pooping on my party, right? But you need the discernment, because not all ideas are great, right? Like, you may think it is, but they're not. Then you have galvanizers that are motivators, can take a project and go, hey, everybody, this is the best project. Get on board. And everybody's like, yeah, that's me as well. So I have ideas. I think they're all great. And then I move on.
Yeah.
Not always the best idea. Yeah. Then you have enablement, people that are like, just like I said, good support, ready to help you step in wherever they're needed. They're just amazing people to have around. And then tenacity are people that need to see a project get done. And I always had the idea with tenacity and why visionaries don't finish projects. This is my theory, is that for me, when I come up with an idea, I already see it, right? From birth to it working, and it like, it's the most amazing idea ever. It's an operation. People are loving it. They're buying it. Like, so for me, I've already lived it. So for me, I don't necessarily need to finish, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, I have the people in my company that go, Armando, we got to finish this project. I'm like, you're right. Y'all do it.
Yeah.
See you later. Yeah.
But
for the most part, I'm just like, I'm living and dying in these dreams all day, right? So that's my theory, is that most entrepreneurs or visionaries, they already see their project come to life.
Yeah.
So they don't really necessarily need to have the feeling of seeing it get accomplished. As a matter of fact, so I just wrote a TV show called Life on Bourbon, right?
Okay.
And we shot the pilot, finished it, and I've been in the room where I finished a movie, or I finished a show, or I finished some project, and we're in the screening room. Like, the dopamine that happens in the ideation process is much better than the finished product.
100%. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, you see it done, and it's like,
yeah,
hey, whatever. I'm so, it's taken so long to have gotten it out that you just don't have any. Yeah, to me, I'm like, all right, what's next? Like it doesn't even
Yeah.
have to feel.
Yeah, I
feeling?
am totally with you. And I think that that's why we need that space to be creative, right? Like that's where we get that sense of like accomplishment, because it's not in the finishing of the thing, it's coming up with the thing. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you ideation?
Oh yeah. Well, what's funny, I just pulled up my working genius. I am discernment and invention, but
Oh, wow.
I am like, I'm all about the idea and I thrive in the idea. And then my team has to come back to be like, okay, we actually just did it right before this call. It's like, okay, so all of these things are still outstanding and you're bottlenecking the process. So how can we help you help us? Like exactly what you're doing here.
Yeah, an epiphany for me. So my Bloom Growth coach, John Glon. Shout out to John Glon, because he always watches. He doesn't. So Bloom Growth coach, he comes in. He's also Working Genius certified, and he put us through my team the working. That's how we got introduced to it. Although I had already read the book and made the team do it, but it wasn't until he came in to really tell me about the elevation. Did you go through the elevation task?
No.
Okay. This was like epiphany for me.
Okay.
So he was saying the reason why I'm creating organizational whiplash within my organization was that I was bringing in these 30,000 foot view ideas, which should be reserved for your annual and quarterly meetings. That's where he's like, Armando, this is where you thrive. This is where you need to stay. You're bringing that into the 1,000 foot view tactical leadership. And what's happening is that's what's creating that organizational whiplash. And because you're the CEO and people respect you,
they're following you.
They're just following you. And so at every moment, you're on to the next thing, and you're on to the next thing, and you're on to the next thing, when you should be, here's the annual meeting. This is the vision for the year.
Yeah.
This is the 3-year goal. This is what we need to be doing quarterly. We've all agreed that this is what we need to do. Yes?
Yeah.
Then Armando is out. Then I just come in to solve problem brainstorm wise on the tactics that we've already decided are the priorities for the quarter. And that alone for me was just like, wow, no wonder I'm frustrating my creative director who hates meetings most of the time because of that reason, right? Because he's like, why is it that every time we have a meeting, nothing gets solved? And yet
we have new things.
Now we have 30 new ideas.
Adding new things. Yes. And the thing is that we have to remember, like, what we're talking about drives us. What drives a lot of these doers is actually getting the task done. So we're actually taking away like their sense of purpose by bringing new things in that they can never accomplish. So this is exactly why I mentioned this idea of like including them in the vision so that they can hold you accountable to the vision. And then if the vision is changing, there's got to be like a really good reason why, not just because we've had some like new idea of something we want to do to fill our bucket. I love that. I mean, we use the like traction, the kind of traction outline to go over.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, like all that vision stuff. So yeah, super important.
I'm laughing because, and John will be like, it's not rocks, it's priorities. I was like, okay, man.
I still always call them rocks.
Yeah, it's it is. To me, it's the same thing, but whatever. I get it, right? They need to call it something, but it's the same deal, right? KPIs are scorecards, O&Os are issues, quarterly priorities are rocks, whatever. It's the same deal.
Yeah.
But it is
just get it done. Just whatever you call it, just do it. Yeah.
Hallelujah. How do people work with you? What are the different packages that you have?
So right now we do straight training packages. So everything's available on my website. We're just doing mortgage broker training right now. For other founders, that's coming this fall. We've got some AI course for founders as well. But best thing is to just find me, shoot me a message, tell me what your needs are.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cheryl, where do they find you?
Criticalfunction.com. That's the best spot. You can also follow me on Instagram at Critical Function.
There you go. Cheryl Sanguinetti, I really appreciate it. Guys, if you don't have an executive assistant, get one. It's going to make your life, oh my God, so much easier. And not only get one, but make sure that they're trained.
Yeah.
Right? If they're sitting around collecting money and not doing anything is not going to help you either, right? It's just going to cause more frustration.
I'm going to say one thing before you let me go here. You can have the best trained assistant on earth. And if you don't go through that intake with yourself and have that onboarding, it's not going to matter. So the founder being just as involved in the process as the training of the assistant is the key, in my opinion. Because great EAs, great VAs will fail if they don't have the structure they need to thrive.
There you go. You heard it here first. Reach out to Cheryl if you guys need that help. Thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it, as always.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah. And Spaghetti on the Wall brought to you by Leduc Entertainment for all of your production needs, podcasts, organic social, making videos. We got you. Keep watching, keep listening, and we'll see y'all next time.